A lot of people don't know this, but models now can actually understand full-on videos, not the transcript, not just images from the video. It can understand full-on videos. So what I can do is that I can actually upload the video here. This is a lecture from Mastra's Mastermind or something. And here I can ask questions about the video. So let's say I can take, let's ask it about this part. Let's say, what is happening? Mark. And if I ask the question, what's going to happen is going to load up this whole video into the context of the model. And here we got our response. And what we can see in the response is exactly what we are seeing on the screen here. We are talking about the command line interface. And I can also click here. So if I somewhere here, I can click here and it's going to bring me to the part of the video. Now at this point, model has the whole video in its context, so I can continue asking questions about the video. Let's maybe ask about this part. What's happening? 150, tell me about it. And now I can easily ask questions about the video, or we can, for example, summarize it fully. I'm going to talk about use cases. We're going to talk about which models support that, nuances of this approach, some small things that you should know about, cost, and everything like this. So let's get into it. First, who actually does this? Because model can see the video, feels like every model can do this, right? But actually, the only lab that supports this kind of behavior is Google and their Gemini models. And I see a lot of backlash towards them lately online, but I actually think that Gemini and Google's model, probably for the application development and for application use cases in terms of the cost to value ratio, are probably the best models. Even if we take, for example, the supported data types, what this one model can do, it can take text, images, video, audio, and PDFs, just one model. Whereas if we take OpenAI, they are not supporting, let's say, video. And I'm mostly certain that they're also not supporting audio as their input. Yeah, they have a separate model for that. So you can use just one model that will handle images, text, video, PDFs. And I think it's great value. And I think just in general, Google's model are really good for the application use cases. They have their own quirks with the generation of structured outputs and stuff. But generally speaking, they are pretty good. So enough of that. Let's talk about the video understanding. So with the Google and Gemini models, as I said, you can upload the video content directly to the model. The way that it looks, and here's the Python code, and I don't want to see this, but if we look at, let's say, JavaScript, with their implementation here, with their SDK, what you're doing is that you are specifying the meme type, and you just specify the base64 file, the video file, and that's pretty much it. So you are pasting the video the same way you would paste image or text. So you can see here that they've pasted in text, and you can the same way paste it in the video. And another cool thing that you can actually do is that you can actually paste in the YouTube URL, and it's going to take the content of this video. There are some limitations to that. I believe you cannot upload more than 8 hours of YouTube video per day. But that's extremely cool that you don't need to implement any FFmpeg download thing to first download, then parse it into base64, then upload to the model. You can just paste in the URI and it's going to fetch the video. In terms of the pricing, that's actually very interesting because depending on the quality of the video, and you can control that in the settings, it's going to charge you different price. So with media resolution set to low, frames are tokenized at 66 tokens per frame. So each frame is going to be 66 tokens, and they are sampled at 1 FPS, so which means that we're sending to the model 1 frame per second. I believe you can also control that and increase the sampling rate. But yeah, 66 tokens per second of the video, you can say, and that's on the low setting of the media resolution. So if you need to see some specific details on the video, you might want to increase that to high. And you can see here that frames are tokenized at 258 tokens per frame if you set the other media resolution, which is high, I believe. And you're also charged separately for the audio per second, so 32 tokens per second, which means that a model with like 1 million context window can actually take a video with low resolution up to 3 hours long. So you can basically upload the whole movie into the context window, or like a lecture, or the whole conference, let's say. And with the default resolution, it's up to 1 hour long. The thing is that the problem here is that the longer the video is, the more tokens it costs you. So it scales like linearly with the length of the video. So that's one important point. But the fact that you don't need to like summarize, re-summarize separately, then put it into the model, think how you would manage that, and you can just paste in the video into the model, and even don't worry about it, the model will handle that. It's super cool, because it's like previously, to implement something similar to that, you would need to do a lot of work to like take each frame of the video separately, upload it to the model, upload the transcript of the video. But now it's super simple. And by any means, I'm not sponsored by Google, but I think that the support of the video as an input is super cool. And because by default, the sample rate is 1 FPS, which means that we're sending only 1 frame per second, not all the content is suitable for that. Let's say lectures or conference are a really good use case for that. If you're trying to do something with sports, that's it's not the best use case for that. And you would need to look into some other implementations, or you can paste in the higher sample rate, but then again, it's going to eat much more tokens. And another very important thing here, I don't see if they're mentioning it here, but the caching. So because it's going to eat a lot of tokens, we have to implement some kind of caching. And thankfully, I believe Google is handling caching for you just under the hood. It's not guaranteeing caching, okay? Sometimes you won't hit the cache, sometimes you will. But because it's going to eat a lot of tokens per request, if you are expecting like back and forth with the model, right? When you upload the video and then you chat with the video, you have to implement some kind of caching, and it's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to be much faster. And I believe Google are handling the caching part for you. Now I want to show you the implementation, how I implemented this into this application. We have here basically 2 routes. First is to upload the video to our backend. So I can upload the video, and it's going to just upload this video to the public folder of my Next.js project. And then we have a chat. So you will notice here that we just have a text box, which is connected to AI SDK. If you look at the code, so what we're doing here is that we're using use chat hook from AI SDK. We have here function handle send. And inside of this function, what we are doing is that we're composing the video file just to match the type of the file UI part from AI SDK. And then we are just sending the message. Send message is just a function from AI SDK. And here we are specifying the text. So the text that user specified here in this box, and the file. So we are pasting in our file. And then also we're pasting in the body just to show to the AI where our user is in the video, right? It's just an additional thing as a context for the model to better understand the user. Also a good tip for you. And then if we look at the backend code of this chat, all we're doing here basically is that we are just, and so what we're doing here is that we're receiving our messages, we're receiving our information in terms of the video time seconds. Here we are hydrating messages, hydrating video parts. So what we're doing is that because we uploaded it to our like public folder, if we send this URL to our public folder to the Google, it won't work. So what we need to do is to transform, to fetch separately the files from our public folder and hydrate them. So instead of making them as a URLs, we need to transform them into base64. So that's what we're doing here. And then we're just changing, like hydrating messages so that we have there, instead of file URLs, base64 in our messages. And then we are just doing model message convert to model message. And then we are just passing those messages to our model here. And here we're also specifying our model, which is 3.1 flashlight, just to save me some money because it costs a lot of tokens. But and it's also fast. But yeah. And that's pretty much it for the backend and the front end. And just model handles the hard lifting for you. So in terms of the use cases for that, I can see that being used for like summarizing lectures or getting some key information from lectures, from conferences, let's say. You can also maybe process some Q&A, or not Q&A, QA, like screen recordings with bugs so that the model can better understand them and create a better report, let's say, something like this. So there are a lot of use cases for that. And I hope you found something helpful here, something interesting, maybe it sparked some ideas for you. And if you enjoyed it and you found this helpful, I'm going to leave all the links in the description. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.